Welcome back to the second number 2.
Well, baby, now we'll travel.
Just gonna back out of this spot here. Make sure I don't get into an accident. It's knit hat weather. If you didn't notice, I look like a college lesbian. Which isn't far off from my mentality. Just did a little bit of underwear shopping. 4 for $30 at Banana Republic, which is something we're learning about our current government. Banana Republics. Anyhow, I got 4 sweet knit boxers. Let's see here. Let's pull them out. Let's check them out real quick. Let's see the haul. Let's turn into a haul video. Here we go. Nice with the blue stripes and stuff. Next one. This one I really like. This one is blue with pink hearts on it. I've been trying to bring back pink as like a color that men can wear and not be ashamed of it. Standard blue, just like nice blue and black. Gotta have the black. You never know. Those are the special ones because they really offset my milky white thighs. So subject matter today. What are we going to talk about? Let's talk about love. Let's talk about All Hallows Eve. Should we talk about Halloween? Halloween is coming up. So let's discuss, well, I could do that next week or in the next video. I'm closer to Halloween. Anyway. Like these sunglasses. It's my favorites. Let's talk about life advice, professional advice that I've gotten from people, and let's talk about some professional mistakes that I've made. Still working towards that feature, making a feature, because I think, like, for those of you who know, there is a huge propaganda war going on right now. I kind of consider myself a huge part of that. When I moved out to LA, that was my whole thing, was like, I'm gonna get into this, and I'm gonna do some stuff. But then I realized LA is just going down in flames, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That whole industry and structure needs to disappear. But professional stuff, and the propaganda culture war, it's in full swing. I mean, it's been in full swing for a number of years now. But I remember when it really started to, like, when I really started to become like aware of, like, I think there's a group out there that is really pushing to make things swing in the other direction and really have an industry where people of any creed or religion or background can have equal footing and equal opportunity instead of a particular 3 parentheses group of people who seem to dominate everything about it and control, what's going to be popular and what's not going to be popular in America, especially. And they control, like, how smutty everything is. Everything's just, like, so smutty now. It's disgusting. That being said, this is Tim driving uncensored, so there might be a few swear words here and there. You never frickin' know. Switched it up. Fooled you. Oh, there's some anarchist A's spray painted on that abandoned for sale place. Commercial, huh? Maybe I should get that. Thinking about starting a landscaping company. I did some landscaping for my sister recently, and I realized I really like getting my hands dirty and like sculpting the earth. It's enjoyable. But anyways, so the industry, when I realized that the whole culture war was in full swing, was back to when Hacksaw Ridge came out. There was no it was no coincidence that Mel's return coincided with the probably one of the most absurd, I think, no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, one of the most absurd election cycles we've ever seen in the United States. You know, I have friends who've moved here recently, and I was like, it's never been like this. You know, like legal immigrants and stuff that moved here specifically because they're. And by the way, most legal immigrants are Trump supporters. For those of you, those whiteys who don't seem to realize that they're always speaking on the behalf of others. I need to stand up for the non-whites. Shut up. They're fine without you. In fact, they're better if you don't make things worse. It would be better if you don't get involved, because you'll probably make things worse. For those who are immigrating here legally. Anyway, so culture war, full swing. Mel Gibson returns. Hacksaw Ridge, huge Christian undertones. Seventh-day Adventism, like that whole thematic element, which, you know, Mel's not he's an open Christian. I believe he's Catholic. I don't know what he is now, or what denomination he considers himself now, but certainly a follower of Jesus Christ, or Yeshua the Nazarene, or Yehoshua. He goes by many names. So Mel Gibson shows up. Hacksaw Ridge, his return to being behind the camera. I think he was actually supposed to play the part that Hugo Weaving played, because there's a couple of shots in that movie where you can see the back of his head in that part. The squirrel running across, spinning squirrel. So he comes back, he returns, he's got this huge movie, which is spectacular. If you haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, it's quite an undertaking, considering it was like nothing budget compared to his normal epics, and he still made it look humongous. And a really great story. That guy that it's based on, that whole thing, he was a rare American, something we should all strive to be more like. Anti-war guy, conscientious objector, all that stuff. But in that movie, he's dealing with all these themes that just have been completely lacking in cinema. Just a perspective on the world that has just been completely lacking in cinema. And he, I remember in a interview, he was being interviewed by, it was Mario Lopez or something. I think you can find this online. But Mario Lopez is asking him about his life and stuff, and he goes right for the. So what do you think about this election cycle? What's going on here? It's been pretty crazy. So how do you see the election playing out? And Mel said, how do I see this playing out? And he goes, one of them's gonna win. He goes, one of them's gonna win. And I just remember laughing hysterically when he said that. And you can hear the crew. You can actually hear the crew start busting up laughing. The people that were filming him. And Mario's like grinning ear to ear and like kind of laughing. Because that's kind of how I felt. You know, I didn't vote. I haven't voted like ever. Because it doesn't matter for the most part. Because there's a certain group of people that are in control. And it still remains to be seen whether Trump is under their control or not. And he's been doing a lot of stuff lately, just as I'm saying this. Just recently, he started criticizing the Fed, which was great to hear. Because because that is one of the things that keeps us from ever advancing as a society. And that is the one thing that could pull us out of this just decades long, possibly a century long, just decline into slavery. And you know, most people don't feel like they're slaves, but you are. But we don't. We're talking more about the culture war. So the thing is like the culture war now is just like the social media. Everybody's talking about censoring this and that and the other thing. And there's all these people that are popping up that are doing like really great like little propaganda, little rhetoric here and there. It's just nice to hear anybody who's not some corporate puppet, no matter which side they're on, start to get new ideas out there, and they can do it so easily and quickly with with this type of thing, and with like worldwide distribution online and stuff. It's pretty awesome. But the thing the thing that I've always been working towards is we need to show the rest of the establishment, the established media, the mainstream media, the established Hollywood, the Hollywood establishment, that there are people out there that are better than the people that they're hiring, that can do more with less and can still find a huge audience and get their stuff seen and shared. You know, the days of like the movie theater are weaning away. The internet has returned us to a time of like, I think I mentioned this sort of something else, but that I've done, I can't remember now, but back to the days of like Nickelodeon and sponsored shows and stuff like that, sponsored content, and like Nickelodeons, where it's like you put in a quarter, you watch a little thing, and you go, that was awesome, and you move on. All the podcasts are a great example of how like that's how TV and radio was when it first started. If you had the money to get the equipment, you had a show, man. You could find your audience. You could hit a lot of local people. That local farm-to-table art that I've been harping on for quite some time now. I think people need to just start thinking about artists and their media and their entertainment in the same way that they think about most other things. Like, if you want to go see Drake in a concert, fine, but Drake is a slave to them. You go back and watch some of the things with Public Enemy. You see what happened to Public Enemy when they started to speak out against a certain group of people, and what happened to them. Is Kanye aware of this stuff? I don't know, maybe not. But that's the next stage for me in the culture war. Is we need to start establishing people who are making their own high quality content. The problem is that most people don't really want to invest in art, but you can't help but notice the way in which artists that are more, if you want to call them right-leaning, just not leftists, are finding their audiences and becoming bigger and bigger through social media. Like, that's saying something. But the problem is, like anything, your audience starts to expect certain things from you as you, like whatever you're doing to pull your audience in, that's what they're going to want to continue to see. They're not really going to want, like if PewDiePie all of a sudden was like, I'm not doing daily shows anymore. I am going to start doing half-hour talk shows where I sit down like Dr. Phil and I talk to people. Much of his audience would stick around. but a lot of them would be resistant to it, and then he'd bring in different people and whatever. But it wouldn't. People expect a 10-minute video from him every day. That's like pretty well produced, pretty well edited, funny. Comments on the passing scene now again, playing some video games here and there. What people are really tuning into now is just supporting a person that they like for a few minutes out of the day. So I'm more of a big project person. Like, this is hard for me to do because I don't want to sit down and like go rewatch something and be like, that was stupid and boring. And like, who wants unedited clips of somebody talking? But apparently a lot of people online do. But I am one of those people that's like, I want to take 3 years of my life and devote it into making a 90-minute to 2-hour experience that you can watch and have like an amazing time for those 90 minutes to 2 hours. I mean, sometimes that doesn't always work, sometimes it does. However, now, moving towards making 90-minute features, making feature films, and making them from a perspective and with certain undertones that will not be allowed in the greater commercial world as it exists today, because they simply do not believe in a free exchange of ideas. They just don't. They don't. If I was trans, or if I was a lady and people saw Dream of Me, I'd already be huge. It probably would have gotten a giant budget, because there's a narrative in the film. There's a narrative in your fictional film, and then there's a narrative in the press world. And the narrative in the press world and the shaping of the way people see the quote-unquote actual reality that serves the purposes of a particular group of people by shaping people's view of reality through what people consider the news, which is just as phony as what's on the screen most of the, what's on a movie screen and TV screen most of the time. That's the real agenda, So like when you're a woman, or you're transgender, or you're a minority dude, or whatever, you're gay or whatever. If you're not, let me just put it this way: if you're not a straight white male who is Christian on top of it all. They're going to squelch you. I mean, that much is proven. But like, how do you convince people to invest in something that they can't tangibly see or find out about or watch or do anything with until they've seen it, and then they go, oh, that was worth my investment. So I have to prove myself to people by saying, look, check out the work I've done. Let's go forward. So the 90-minute feature, the feature film, that's still on the horizon, but I also want to talk to like the newer audience that's starting to find me and starting to realize, like, oh, Tim shares our values, Tim shares our ideas. One of the things I want to talk about is some short films. So one of the things I'll be putting up, I'm going to be setting this up on my website, is little posters, because I want to keep this under the control of my fans and my audience. I'm going to be putting up little posts, like concept posters and like synopsises of some short films that I think is a stepping stone towards setting up, towards convincing people that I can do a feature and that they should invest in it. So one of the shorts that I can think of is a short that I wrote. I wrote the treatment for years ago when I was living around the time when I did Dream of Me, when I was living in outside of Boston. I was walking around what's called the Innovation District, which which is near where, like, you know, if you've ever gone to PAX East, if you're a nerd and you've gone to PAX East, which I would love to go to more, but, you know, I just, like, can't really afford anything. PAX East is in the Expo Center that's there, and, like, that was, like, one of the locations in, like, that whole area I wanted to use as a location for this short. And the short is, the short deals with automation of the automation of the workforce, and like a future, and like examining digital and analog as mediums. But it's all wrapped up in a boy meets girl like thing that you can sit down and watch with your girlfriend. Because let's be honest, fellas and ladies, if you're listening, the red pilling of women is the thing that is most, to me, it's the most important. Most guys feel like, oh, no, you keep the women out of it. We can't. They need to be protected. We don't want to tell, like, you know, that's like a very old guy mentality where it's like, the wife doesn't need to know what's happening. And it's like, well, it's a little patronizing. I think that women can handle the truth, handle hearing the truth. They're going to have a tough time with it just as much as anybody, because the truth is really ugly about, like, where we are and what's going on in the world. And a lot of you who are watching this know me and have found me through, like, mutual interests online. You'll understand what I'm getting at. But the only way we can win the propaganda war is by making stuff that's better than what they're making. And honestly, it's so easy to make stuff that's better than what they're making. And it's never been more of it. Like, you can make amazing things with just a laptop at your house with time. All it takes is time. That's the biggest thing, is like, if you're willing to put in the time. And that was the dream of me thing. I made 30 minutes. That's a third of a feature film by myself with stuff that anybody could buy. Anybody could buy, and actually anybody could buy, like, in 2006. You know what I mean? Like, really anybody could have made that if they put in the time and effort. Some of you have seen it, some of you have not. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But I'm actually I'm working on a little bit of a new release, because I'm no longer working with the producer that I was working with. He's a nice guy and stuff, but I'm going in a different direction, and I still would work with him down the line, but I think he needs to find some people that are more interested in going down the more traditional path with filmmaking. I'm not. I don't even think of Hollywood as an option anymore. I don't think of TV as an option. I don't think of any of those places as options, because for me, it's all about, like, you know, like, really indie produced stuff that's distributed online, and you find your audience there. But that's easy to do if you're not interested in making stuff that's, like, of a certain caliber, like a higher caliber. I'm interested in making stuff that's, like, higher tier. You know what I mean? Spending the money, getting a good crew, and doing it the right way. One person who's already making a mark, who I would highly recommend, is Zoller. Craig Zoller, I think his name, Craig. You should check him out. He's done a lot of writing and stuff. He's kind of gone the more so traditional route, but his movie right now that's constantly being, like, banned and frowned upon, called Dragged Across Concrete. Apparently that's with Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson. If you haven't seen Brawl in Cell Block 99, I would check that out. I haven't seen Bone Tomahawk yet. Maybe I'll watch that today. But check out Craig Zoller. Check out Brawl in Cell Block 99. That's an awesome movie. It's an awesome movie. Maybe not exactly for the ladies, but it's an awesome flick. Check it out. How long has this been going on? All right, we're at about 25 minutes. All right, cool. It's about as much time as I wanted to take. All right. Anything else? Was there anything else I wanted to touch on? Not really, not today. So check that out. Ooh, I think I might actually post this on my Instagram too, but so I found an old 8mm projector that my parents had. This old Chinon, I don't know how you say it, CHINON 3000 GL, and it still runs, but we don't have any, like, I don't know if we have any 8mm film to put through it. However, I went on eBay, and there's a lot of like stuff that's just like from the 50s and 60s that people have shot that's 8mm that's going on just on auction now, or like it's like lot number whatever, and it's just like old home movies from just randos, and it's like $10 and you get like tons of spools of just random people's 8mm films and stuff. I always like that stuff because that's like a closer representation of what life was actually like for a lot of people, and I think that there's a need for that type of thing. So I was thinking about doing like a this type of show, but where it's just like a movie night type of thing, and it's just sitting down and watching random people's old movie reels, silent film stuff, and just getting back into that like mentality of just like kind of starting over, because the country is getting to a point where we're going to have to start over one way or the other. We're going over the cliff. We're well past the point of no return, but how it all comes down and how it all is built back up is probably the most important question that we're all facing right now. But you know, that sounds doom and gloomy, but I don't know, I look at it really positively, and so I think that would be a cool thing to do, would be to like spend $10-20 on these collections of 8mm film, and just put them up there on the screen for people to check out. I think that would be fun. I would say let me know in the comments, but I don't really have a comment section on my website yet. And by the way, if you're watching this on like YouTube and stuff, and you're like, there's nobody watching this, the numbers are real low. The numbers are real low because I found a way around if you embed videos from YouTube on your website and you get people to watch them on your website, you can basically go under the radar and be saying things and not get flagged by the YouTube community of thought police by doing it that way. Now, I haven't been talking about anything that's that controversial that would get me kicked off of YouTube with 3 parentheses around it. YouTube. I haven't been saying much in that way, not yet anyway, because I'd like to build a little bit more of an audience before we start that. So if you're somebody who knows what I'm talking about, please share this stuff with other people that you think might be into following this journey. I'm also, I've also got some interviews lined up with some interesting people. Hopefully, so they all will agree to be on camera, and even if they don't, I'm going to censor them, and maybe some of you will be able to figure out who they are. Some of them I'll censor, but like the opinion that they represent is an important one to hear, even if you don't know who the specific person is. Like, hearing their journey, what they believe, where they stand in the current political or socioeconomic scene, I think would be important too. So, I'm probably going to be traveling up traveling up north soon to visit my grandma. And I'm also going to be headed to DC at the end of the month for the Walk Away March. Going to be shooting a bunch of videos there. I've got a new character that I think is going to make an impression on some people. Let me just say this. You guys are going to love her. Alright. Well, that's it for me. I hope everybody's doing well. We'll talk to you next time. Keep checking back to timstabers.com, and if you like what you see, I'm going to probably set up a Gumroad account, and then we'll probably start doing stuff over there where you can pay for access to a library for a monthly subscription. And then I'll also be doing, and that won't just be videos of me, or it won't just be videos that I'm doing here. It'll be like anything, any work I've ever done. And I will also be, you should also, if you like what you see, throw me a buck. That would be nice. You know what I mean? That would be super helpful. And get things rolling. There's a PayPal button on my website. You can throw me something if you felt like, oh, that was good. That was good. You know, leave a little note too. You know, leave a note that says like, don't like these videos, do more of those, or whatever. I can't promise that I'll do that, but whatever. And be on the lookout for Nobody Gives a Shit number 4, which should be coming out soon. Alright, and follow me on Instagram and stuff. Alright, guys. It was great riding with you. Hope you're doing well. Talk to you next time.